This podcast contains an English accent that most of our Irish listeners will find offensive. Also, there may be some colourful language that you're going to find less offensive. Now, over to Ryan and Leon. Enjoy the podcast.
You can tell that we've been up to no good since we last saw each other because we're back on the cups of tea.
We're on the dry.
We've had vino.
We've had very busy weeks.
So much has happened. We've done so many things, and a lot of alcohol, seemingly, which is why we're on the Lions tea.
Lions tea this time, is it? We're very fancy.
Yeah, we're on the Lions. Last time I saw you, I got engaged.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much indeed. I was in New York.
Fabulous.
I'll talk about that in a bit. I don't know a city like it. When you travel and you go, yeah, I know, I've seen most places, and then you're like, oh, go to New York. It's like, yeah, grand, I'll go to that place that everyone's on about, whatever. And you go there. I just don't know a place like it at all.
Never had a bad meal in it ever.
Have you been there before?
Been there 2022, I think it was. Maybe that. I can't remember what it was. It was either I think it was last year or the year before, but maybe Mrs. went away. 4 days, never had a bad meal. Got like the $1.50 pizzas and all.
Same.
Still amazing.
Oh, the takeaway pizza is fantastic.
Went to see Daniel Craig and Ruth Negga play Macbeth on Broadway.
You have to go to Broadway. I went to Broadway as well.
Yeah. Production was absolutely shite.
Oh no.
Daniel Craig was. I actually. Just because I got to see Daniel Craig, he is phenomenal. Like, I'm glad I went all the way to New York to see a shit production of Macbeth.
Yeah.
Just seeing Daniel Craig. Now, Ruth Negga was very good as well, as she always is. But Daniel Craig is like, he was wasted as James Bond. He is a fantastic theatre actor.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. Like, blown away by how good he was.
It's funny, like, he was so good in the Onion movies.
The Glass Onion.
Yeah, the Glass Onion movies. And you're going like, how you must be such a wide, diverse actor. Like, why would you be 15 years in a suit doing fuck all?
Knives Out, that's what it is.
Knives Out.
Glass Onion was Knives Out. The Glass Onion was the second.
Glass Onion was the second of Knives. They're so good, those Knives Out.
Fantastic. And like, even like,
it's all him.
Cowboys and Aliens as well. Like, he's in that as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant actor. But like, I never thought he'd be that. Like, I thought he was a good actor. I've seen some of his films, but like, you see him in theatre and it's like, it's just the whole presence. And the thing was, I'd say, me and Mrs. were talking about it, she's a classically trained theatre actor.
Oh, indeed.
So she was able to break it down for me. But it was an American cast, and then there was Daniel Craig and Ruth Negga, and I reckon with the dialect, they just couldn't get where to put the emphasis on certain words. So they'd be talking like this.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, why I'm talking to you. So you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And obviously with Shakespeare, with the language, you have to, like, a good Shakespeare, you could go see Hamlet, and like, if you have like some of the best theatre actors performing in you'll understand what's going on even without understanding all the words.
Yeah.
But when you've got like an American who doesn't understand the context of the words and where to put emphasis, it just jars you.
Just all over the shop. You don't know where to go.
And then you just have Daniel Craig, who's just fucking incredible. Like, just, he does "Oh, full of scorpions is my mind" speech, and you're just like, oh my God, this is unreal.
Judi Dench has a book out, which is The Love Letter to Shakespeare. I'm not really a big Shakespeare guy, but like you said, when someone's doing it well, there's this clip you can go and see on YouTube of Judi Dench doing I don't know what soliloquy it is actually. Maybe it is from Hamlet. I don't know. But she's taken the breath away of the audience. So, like, yeah, if you're good, you can do it good.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Broadway's amazing. Like, I went to The Great Gatsby.
Oh, wow.
And just everything about the production of the show, and they just do everything so much bigger, and not a note off. The voices were spectacular. Like, incredible.
Was it a musical or just like?
Yeah, it was a musical. Yeah,
unreal.
Yeah, musical
like
on
the
Broadway.
Roaring 20. F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Brilliant, right?
Yeah, and what a place. So yeah, we haven't seen each other for a while.
Yeah.
Since last time I saw you, the last time we recorded, you were off on a bit of a naughty stag.
I'm still recovering.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, I'm still recovering.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was wild. We went to Budapest.
Well, that's where you do it.
That's where you do it, yeah. Went on a booze cruise.
Did you? Yeah.
Started drinking at 9:30 in the morning. Had a triple Whopper from Burger King for my breakfast.
Oh, you devil.
Had a McDonald's for my dinner.
Yeah.
And had beers the next day for my breakfast. It's just, the stags are like, you know yourself, that it's like you're not in reality.
It's not real.
It's not real.
It's like a 2-day. You put real life. You put a pin in it a little bit.
Yeah, you get to put yourself in a little alcoholic box.
Yeah,
and you just blur your way through 2 or 3 days, and you go fuck. Because at the first day you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get through all this, and then the last day you're like, Jesus, I don't even remember half of it. That flew in. How do you know?
I think you come full circle as well. Like you get invited to your first couple of stags, you're like, oh my god, that's a stag. And then your third or fourth stag's a bit like, I've got this fucking stag to go to. I can't be arsed. And then you come back again and go like, there's a stag coming, lads. Absolutely buzzing.
That's it. Like, it was brilliant. Like obviously the company that you're with make stags, you know, and we had a fantastic time. But like as I said, I'm still fucking. I think I got like a sinus infection because of the plane and stuff like that, and you know, recycled air and all like that. And obviously
getting old, things like that.
Heavily amount of drink as well that was involved. You know, can take on the immune system. So, but yeah, it was. I'm sure it was not as pleasant as your weekend away.
Mine was busy. But I asked you to do a poem and write a poem about the stag, and I'm hoping that you've come prepared.
Well, I have.
Ah, good man.
I always come prepared. I always get my man. Yeah, I have a poem here that's amply just called Stag. Stag. Beers for breakfast, McDonald's for lunch. Sharp pints have water, shots for brunch. I feel like I'm in a Hunter S. Thompson novel. All go, no rest. 'Cause we're on a Stags, baby, and that stag's wearing a dress. Airplane beers are disgracefully warm as we descend on the drinks cart like a fucking swarm of ants having bants. One of the lads has already pissed his pants. Another's pulled a whitey from the edibles he took. He's sweating on the woman beside him who's only trying to read our book. Half of us are fucked and it's only half one. We've 2 more days of what's supposed to be called fun. I feel like Mo Farah taking on a marathon, although he'd probably fare more than us on a gargantuan trip full of about 80,000 sips. One lad's busted his lip, another's bruised the hip. One so pissed when we landed down the stairs of the plane he slipped. And this is only day 1. 2 more in tow. But fuck it, we're on a Stags, baby, and we're raring to go.
That was Stag by Leon Dunn. And like as we record this podcast, I'm sitting across from Leon and I'm just fucking body popping as he's fucking doing the fucking poem. Oh, I've got an energy. I've got an energy after that. That was amazing. Stags are class. And actually, like, there's a like I think you come full circle, but that you know that like I don't know who you were with on the stag, but like if you're a part of the core friendship group, you know that there are going to be people from like school, a work colleague that's like hasn't been, you've never met before, maybe a brother-in-law, and just that whole like, oh my god, we're like a clan full of misfits just going on the sesh.
Some people you'd probably never talked in your life other than, you know, unless they go on the stag.
Yeah.
And like you come back and it's like he's like brothers in arms.
Oh,
do you know, we've been through the war, we've been over the top in the trenches and stuff like that.
Have you been texting people from the stag who you haven't met before? Yeah, that's what it's about.
We have a group chat. We still use the group chat and talk about, you know.
Oh, stop!
It's unreal.
Amazing. Speaking of stags, well, I went to New York. I went there a single man, came back as an engaged man. I remember that there's a poem that I wrote at the start of dating Lisa, like two years ago, and I remember I was playing Scrabble with my mom. In Wolverhampton, and you know, like at the start of a relationship, like you're texting. Do you know what I mean? You're texting a little bit, and you know, you're not like you're exclusive, but you're not like, you know, you're not down the road.
Not official.
You're going steady. Let's say you're going steady.
Courting.
And I was playing Scrabble with my mom, and I was like taking photos of the Scrabble tiles that I had and sending them to Lisa. And it'd been a while since I'd done that sort of thing with a lass. Like I was like, you know what? Oh, I quite like this lass. And
showing
then I was
a Scrabble board.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you know what, it'd be quite funny to write a poem that's something to do with shagging. I was like, right, you know what, I'm going to write I'm shagging someone I like. So
one of my favourite poems.
Yeah.
I fucking love
it. I thought I'd share it with you, if that's all right with you, Leon.
Please do.
All right, I'll share it with you. This one is from myself, and it's called I'm Shagging Someone I Like. The hardcore porn now makes me cry. I'm asked for a pint, I say I'm busy and lie. Now I never used to be this shy. I wonder since why, since I started shagging someone I like. I used to wince at Celine Dion, but now my favourite songs, my heart will go on. It seems long gone since I preferred to be one at the back of the pub with a Sauvignon, but now it's a bottle, and I'm buying since I started shagging someone I like. The deed used to end and I'd fantasise for when whoever would say her goodbyes, but now I'm getting in supplies, whisper pieces and bacon fries. This flat ain't had enough of two yet since I started shagging someone I like. The country walks, the early nights, the rolling eyes and talking shites and but what are you having? Bickers and fights, I lap 'em all up in delight. Now my bank balance does give me a fright, but I couldn't save anyway, so why bother starting since I started shagging someone I like. So I'm bonking someone class, I'm banging someone grand. She's not officially my lass, but touch her and I'll break your hand. And apparently I'm now the prickly type. Well, I guess it all started that night when I started shagging someone I like.
That was Shagging Someone I Like by Ryan Duggins.
I think my dream is to have those words like recorded on like BBC Radio 4. And that was... I don't think it's ever going to happen.
A poem by Ryan Duggins.
Thanks for listening to that, pal.
No problem at all. It's an absolute pleasure. I fucking love that poem.
Yeah, I like doing it as well.
I can't stop. I was in the background just fucking trying not to laugh. It's so good. So good, man. Oh, it's brilliant. We'd like to welcome our latest Patreon subscribers.
We would. Huge welcome.
Finn and Fiona, thank you so much.
Yeah, indeed.
You'll be receiving a parcel in the post.
You will.
As a thank you.
Yeah.
And anybody else who'd like to join our Patreon, you'll also be receiving a parcel in the post.
Absolutely.
As a thank you. Don't know why I'm talking this voice.
No, there's a thank you post in the post, and also we've been working with the guys at the Winding Stair shop, one of Dublin's oldest bookshops, for an exclusive discount for any of our Patreon subscribers. So give us a subscribe. It's €3 a month. We've got loads of fun things coming, and you get 15% of any books you wanted to buy as well. So happy days.
Few cheaper books there for yourself.
Listen, books are pricey.
Educate yourself.
Yeah.
Go on, get a few pages into you.
Yeah.
A few chapters in your noggin.
Speaking of pages, I was excited to talk about. I've got to be someone that I'm probably not cool enough to like, but I do like.
Everyone can like. Everyone can like them.
Kae Tempest. Kae Tempest.
I fucking love Kae Tempest.
Yeah, I have to say I'm probably late to the Kae Tempest party, but I picked up one of Kate's collections, Divisible by Itself and One.
Kae Tempest is blowing up my Instagram at the moment, and I'm delighted about it. I see performances of them, all over the place, and like it's just the music and the poetry, and
such a vibe. Even
without the music, it's just a vibe. It's just fucking deadly. Like one of my favourite songs at the moment is "No Prizes" by Kae Tempest.
Yeah,
and I actually played it for Ryan there just before he hadn't heard it before, but like it's just a phenomenal song, and like how there's a definite, as you said, there's a vibe that they've created, and you just it's not rapping.
No.
And it's not like it's just seamless poetry with music in the background. And then there's also, obviously, as I said, blowing up on my Instagram, and there's videos of them that like without any music, just doing what they're doing, like performing spoken word, and it's just fucking the lyrics.
Have you heard "Hold Your Own"?
I may have.
Hold Your Own it's similar to "No Prizes." They are talking about the seriousness of life, really. So what I think they are really good at is making you feel like life is something you should be taking fucking seriously. So Hold Your Own is all about when something happens to you, stay strong. When this comes up that might throw you all over the shop, make sure you keep your feet steady and feet on the ground. What I think Kae does really well is, certainly with the page poetry anyway, from Divisible by Itself and One, you shared a poem by Oscar Wilde on the last show, and I read a little bit of the Scottish poet Robbie Burns.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so a big fan of Robert Burns, whatever, goes by both. And the Oscar Wilde poem that you shared had like a rhyming scheme where the first and the third line rhymes. They've got like a throwback way of communicating through poetry that isn't just rap. It's not just the streets in 2024. It's got influences from some of the most classical poets that we know.
But even like say with spoken word, and this is where Kae excels, as opposed to like say rap is fantastic. Obviously rap as a medium is fantastic. It's very formulaic though, in the sense that you have a beat and you have to, your rhyme has to hit the same cadence, and it's a little bit more predictable. Obviously very good rappers are able to play tricks where you think,
Yeah.
But Kae almost, it seems like spoken word artists don't have a beat to hit, so they can kind of be freer in their rhyming scheme and keep the audience's attention by switching things up, and with Kae, with how they've obviously a very good grasp of music, that they can not stick to a similar cadence and rhyming scheme throughout. It just seems effortless, but it's also on beat as well, which is very difficult to achieve.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking deadly.
They take that quite seriously, I think, because Divisible by Itself and One, Kae Tempest talks a lot about how, like, there's a difference between, like, creative words and math, but they find math quite beautiful as well. So, like, as a spoken word artist, they think of the formulas of beats as mathematical equations as well as expressions of how they feel. So just a really cool like mix of disciplines, if that makes sense. The collection is lovely, and it gives you an insight into they struggle with a conservative life that was their older life, and how that kind of battle, that internal battle of what they want and what they should have, but also just great insight into the soulfulness of life, let's say.
There is a wisdom, like as I said before, there's a wisdom to them. Like their lyrics are just so smart and brilliant. There's just so, it really hits it really touches, it strikes a chord.
It does strike a chord.
It really strikes a chord.
Well, I'm going to read one that struck a chord with me. It's a poem called Getting On, and it's about their struggle with the creative process. And I really enjoyed it. I like, when you read a poem, you're like, oh, I need to fucking fold the page there.
I'm looking forward to it.
This is called Getting On by Kae Tempest. I just woke up and it was here, today. The furious ambition seems absurd. How could it be? I had so much to say. I feel as jagged as the old blackbird. I spend the morning watching from the sink, awake since 4, pecking at the wrong word. Funny, my memory is on the blink. My greatest wish is to be left alone. I try and stay well back from what I think. My main concern today, get the grass mown. The changing light helps me manage the blues. I feel as if my seams are all unsewn. Let poems be the windows, not the views. The stupid part was thinking I could choose. I just got in. It's burning up out there. The whole world interrupted by disease. What had been solid ground gave way to air. The feeling is when water starts to freeze. The quiet of a change you can't deny. The happening occurring by degrees. Outside the sky is slow. The grass is high. I sand the floors and barely speak 2 words. Each motion for itself. No need to try. It's not a case of wanting to be heard. These days, it's more just hoping for the best. Dog hair in white tufts, left for the bird. It's all gone now. Fur for her scratchy nest. I walk the empty streets, hand on my chest. I never really paid much mind to hope. Long time since my pegs were all in tune. I never was the type who couldn't cope. Still, right above the house, the pointing moon, like it chose us, I sit on dusty bricks. It's either here too long or gone too soon. Your nails catching my soles, and my foot sticks. I pull my leg, slow motion from the trap. The low stretch of your body turns and kicks. Intent on new ground, dragging ancient scrap. The path we find is one we've walked before. We forge ahead, sure we'll disprove the map. Let poems be the jug, not what you pour. These days I dream of just enough, no more.
That was Getting On by Kae Tempest.
Let the poems be the windows, not the views. The stupid part was thinking I could choose. That line has stuck with me since I read it, man. Like,
It's, as I said, there's a wisdom, and it's obviously a very high degree of intelligence as well, and being able to carry some very dense ideas and put them into such, like 2 lines. Like, how much weight them 2 lines carry.
they do carry a lot of weight.
Like, poems are a window and not the views. Like, it's true. It's like, it's a window. It's a vehicle to see something, as opposed to the poem itself is something. It's like, no, it's how it makes you feel. It's how you. It's an idea that you might not have thought before, or a perspective you might not have had before. That the poem is a vehicle to help you achieve that, as opposed to the poem itself being the spectacle.
That's what it is, isn't it? Poetry is not the definitive end goal of anything. It's the, like you said, it's the vehicle.
It's the vehicle to get you there.
Yeah. Wow.
As I said, fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
And
really lovely.
I love seeing, listening to their work, reading their work. It's just fucking deadly. So
Yeah, I don't know if they are back on tour anytime soon, but whenever they are, I'll be there.
Well, look, Kae Tempest, listen to this podcast. Please go on tour. Join our Patreon. It's only £3.
Between me and you, Kae Tempest has left us on red.
Yeah.
So
I don't really mind, to be honest.
No, same. I don't mind either.
I have a poet here. A lot of people would know from the Irish junior cert and leaving cert as well.
Oh yeah,
very, very famous poet, American poet, and writer as well. Well, obviously poets are writers, but a short story and novelist. But Sylvia Plath.
Oh wow, yeah.
Most people know the Bell Jar, one of the most famous. Fabulous writer. Suffered with a lot of. They reckoned that she was undiagnosed bipolar, so very, very sad life, ups and downs, obviously. But they said there's a fine line between mania and genius. But most people would know, like, her death was quite tragic, unfortunately. So she ended up taking her own life. But it was So how she did it was back in the day, where she basically put she went to her kitchen. She got wet towels, and put the gas on the oven, head in the oven, and suffocated, and put a note on the door saying, "Please don't open the door because her kids are next door." It's really, really sad.
No.
Yeah, but like, fabulous writer, and it's sad that obviously something like that's so tragic,
That's
but that's how most people. Yeah, like it's such a sad ending to such a fabulous writer. Yeah, she was born in America and raised, and then died in London. But there's if you listen to her words, there is a kind of tragic element in her poetry, but it's beautiful as well. There's a tragic beauty, I suppose. This poem I'm going to read out to you, it's called Sheep and Fog. The hills step off into whiteness, people or stars. Regard me sadly, I disappoint them. The train leaves a line of breath, oh slow, hoarse the colour of rust. Hooves, dolorous bells, all morning the morning has been blackening. A flower left out. My bones hold a stillness. The far fields melt my heart. They threaten to let me through to a heaven, starless and fatherless, a dark water.
That was Sheep in Fog by Sylvia Plath. I mean, you weren't wrong. That's a tragic poem.
Yeah, but there's a beauty, as I said, like, was my bones hold stillness. Like, it's just, the imagery as well, like the horses having a colour of rust. Like, it's the beautiful kind of pictures. But then, as I said, there's a tragic beauty to the poem elements and stuff like that. So
and the tragedy of her demise, her leaving the world. I mean, that's. I don't think I could think of a worse way to go.
Yeah, well,
my God.
Yeah, like, as I said, unfortunately, like her tragic end is, wouldn't want it to overshadow her fabulous writing and artistic skill. Like, she was a phenomenal poet and writer as well, and it's just, unfortunately, people have their demons, and unfortunately she succumbed to them. But yeah, like, but each one of her poems, like, there is a delicate balance between tragedy and beauty, and her poems have that kind of. Each one does in its own kind of way, So
a bit like Dylan Thomas last week.
Yeah,
we were talking about him last week of being not much crack, but still a lot of value in getting into the depths of someone's not despair but tragic perspective on the world.
I suppose we're like highly intelligent people. Like, I know, so I did when I was in college. I did part of my first year. I did philosophy and existentialism and all different kinds of forms of philosophy. And there's a kind of common link between philosophers and their brains exploding. They all go mad. Like Nietzsche saw a man flogging a horse on the street, ran over, stopped your man beating the horse, and was said to the horse, I understand you, and then like just fell apart, became a mute. His sister was like looking after him, died like 2 years after, and like but was like a college professor at the age of 25. Søren Kierkegaard, again, his mind started to lose, and he started to kind of get this kind of paralysis in his body, and he started to kind of slowly not be able to move, but also he wasn't able to speak anymore, and his brain started to kind of shift that he couldn't hold like proper thoughts and stuff like that as well. And then you have like, say, Albert Camus died tragically in a car accident. You have like, say, what's his name? What's that man's name? Jean-Paul Sartre. Jean-Paul Sartre, again, he was addicted to speed his whole life.
Yeah, well, that's more understandable.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just people they have. And then there was Heidegger. Heidegger, obviously, very, very intelligent man, but he was a fucking Nazi.
Did any of these philosophers just have a bad taste in pop music?
I don't know. Like,
I don't think so. They've all got
like,
they're at the ends of what we can do as people.
But like, they think
hovering
like,
on the edge.
I have established the best train of thought for you to follow, but my life is a fucking mess. It's kind of like lead by example. Do you know? Maybe you shouldn't be fucking.
Would it's a good conversation to have. Like, what is the? So let's say like hyper alert people, like hypersensitive people who maybe see the world a little bit more tragically than the average Joe, let's say.
Yeah.
What is the level of like having a good life, like a positive life where you've got hope and dreams and like getting excited about the day-to-day stuff that keeps you moving?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a possibility of an overthinker being dragged through a shit life? Like, where does thought stop? Like, if the accelerator and brake of a car, like if you think about the more you think, the harder you put the pedal onto the gas. Like, what is the perfect place to put that foot? Is it like 30 miles an hour where you don't give a shit about anything, or is it 150 where you can't stop thinking about all of the things that you could be thinking about? I just sometimes wonder, like, not ignorance is bliss, but a lot of the happiest people, like we were talking about recently, the happiest people are busy people, people that are doers rather than thinkers. And we talk a lot of this podcast about poets, and all they do is fucking think.
All they do is fucking think.
All they do is fucking think. So I just wonder, like, what the balance is there of like getting 85, 90 years of this life, smiling as much as you can, and being a poet.
Well, I suppose like there seem to be a lot of. There's a great book by Cal Newport that's only out recently called Slow Productivity, and he talks about people that are highly productive, but they often take a step back. They're not pedal to the metal the whole time. They have disconnect. Ian Fleming, who wrote the James Bond novels, when he was in the war, he was stationed in Jamaica in Operation Goldeneye. You know the film Goldeneye. So
thanks for that.
Just wanted to let you know my rendition of it. But he was stationed in Jamaica, fell in love with it after the war, ended up buying an estate there and named it Goldeneye. But what he'd do is he'd write a treatment for a book in the winter time, and then or in the summertime, and then during the winter he would go to Goldeneye and he'd write the whole book in like 2 or 3 months, because he'd just be there by the beach, sun and all of that, sand, fucking probably a few cocktails, but like living his best life, typing the fuck out of a book and just writing and he pumped a novel out every year. That's why he wrote so many books, but he had a disconnect where it was like he wasn't in the hustle bustle of the city, and he was able to take himself out of, and then when he go back to London and he'd be back again for like, you know, the summer and the spring and the summer.
That's how he balanced it.
That's how he balanced it. He had a bit of a disconnect at some point. So it's like, yeah, you should have moments of intense focus and concentration, but not all the time. It's like, you know, driving a car at full speed, you're just gonna fucking blow it up eventually. So you know,
shoving a stag do now and again,
blow
it out.
Well, you couldn't have stag do's all the time because you'd be dead very quickly,
you'd be
you know.
Dead.
So that's my rant.
I think it's important to have both. I was lucky enough before I jumped across the pond to receive the newest collection of Phil Lynch's poetry.
I love Phil Lynch.
Called Moving On. Phil Lynch, Dublin poet, a performance poet. You'd see him around the city. Hosts an event down in Dunleary, the writers group down there.
Oh, lovely.
And whenever I see Phil in a room, I hope that he comes on and does the poem "My Wife Thinks I'm at a Poetry Night."
It's a brilliant poem.
It's a brilliant poem. I think it's one of my favourite poems I've heard live. Yeah. It's just so funny and giggly, but it's a message of like, right, don't waste all your words on people that you're not romantically involved with. Make sure you save some good stuff with them. I think he's a real treat of a poet, actually, and his work. Listen, it's not light, it's not like high level, but it makes you think, it makes you feel genuinely quite good stuff, and I think he's just a real pleasure actually to read the work of.
And he's a really nice bloke as well.
He's a great fella as well.
He's always at open mics and events and stuff like that, and it's always great to even just talk to him. But again, very intelligent person, very, very good at his craft and stuff, and has been writing for a long time as well. And he's, I'm can't wait to hear the poem there.
Yeah, well, the collection was called Moving On, and the poem I'm going to read to you now is a love poem.
Ooh,
because I'm in the mood.
The mood for love.
I'm in the mood for love. I've folded over a couple of the corners of this book, but this one I think is my favourite. This poem is by Phil Lynch and it's called Storm Warning. When we were walking once amid a storm, you told me that when trees begin to fall, the safest place to run to is the trunk. I love that you're my safe place. When it's dark, your bark enfolds me in protective wrap. Sometimes you are my bite against attack. I love you for that, too, and when it's calm, I love to play at being a weatherman, predicting dire storms, wild and angry winds that send me running to my safest berth, to which I cling until the force subsides. In windless peace, we settle down to sleep. I love you when on unexpected days you, too, pretend a storm is on its way.
That was Storm Warning by Phil Lynch, and I hope he's shagging someone he likes.
I think he must be.
That person's very lucky.
I know.
What a fucking
warms
gent.
your cockles, that, doesn't it?
It
warms your cockles.
I thought you said something else
no,
there for a second.
No, I didn't. No. Me cockles are warmed.
Our cockles and muscles alive. Oh.
Isn't that a gem, though?
That's lovely. It's a lovely poem. Really, really enjoyed it, yeah. And this collection, what's the name of this collection?
It's called Moving On. It was published by the guys at Salmon Poetry, who were based down in Ennistimon,
independent
County
publisher.
Clare. Yeah, independent publisher.
They've
got a shop down there as well. So if you're in the west of Ireland, or visit there to Ennistimon or Liscannor or Lynch perhaps. Give the guys at Salmon Poetry a knock on their door. Have you spent much time in the west?
I've been I've been over in Galway more times than I could count. Yeah, I have a firm belief that the crack was born in Galway.
It's my favourite city away from Dublin.
It's very difficult to describe to people who are not Irish what the word crack means, because Americans think when we talk about the crack, think we're talking about actually doing like methamphetamines or like crack cocaine.
What it is.
And like no, we're talking about the crack, CRAIC, and to describe to somebody who's not Irish what the crack is very difficult because it's such a broad range of a word.
Yeah.
The crack is mighty, but it's like the crack is like the buzz, it's like the atmosphere, and the crack is very good. It's like you can get sucked into the crack can get you, and it'll bring you to somewhere that you're eating a Supermax at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning because the crack has been too mighty.
The crack is 90.
The crack can get you into trouble sometimes because you go for 1 pint and the crack is too much. You want to get home at 9 o'clock and the crack is too fucking good that you're there till 3:30 in the morning, you've had about 18 missed calls and your missus has thrown you out and all you have is that fucking crispy chicken burger from Supermax to swallow your bleeding misery because the crack got you.
Yeah, the crack got you.
That's how my definition of the crack. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk.
The crack is almost as addictive as crack.
It almost is. I was at an event earlier. We've been very busy. I was at an event earlier. I got a lovely residency there before in the end of 2023 with a lovely school in Crumlin called Rosary College. It was in conjunction with Poetry Ireland as well. Shout out to Poetry Ireland. And it was with a lot of TY students, transition year students. They're 4th year, so they're 16, 17. And basically my job was I went in for 4 weeks, do a bit of workshops and get them writing. I did a few poems and kind of get them, get the creative minds going.
Get the thinking going.
So it was their graduation today. So wonderful teacher, Miss Meehan, she invited me, and Suzanne Meehan's a fabulous teacher, English teacher, and she's also a great poet. She probably hates me saying that she's a poet, but she is. She's fucking deadly. And
she'll have to share one.
She'll have to share one day when she gets there. She'll let me. Oh, she's probably gonna block my phone. Like, don't be telling people I'm a poet, but she's phenomenal. But anyway, so when I was at the event, I did a couple of poems, and the students all got up and said some of their poems, and it was brilliant. So there was one student who came up to me afterwards. He's an absolute gentleman. He
printed it off for you as well.
He printed it out. He gave me a signed copy.
That is the level of backing yourself.
He gave me a signed copy. He said, he came up to me and goes, "I know, I follow you on Instagram.
Yeah.
So you better put that on your Instagram because I'll know. I follow you." So I'm taking his thing and I'm raising him one and I'm putting on a fucking podcast. Already, I'm putting his poem on a podcast. So there he goes. Now he can't say that I haven't finished. So his name is Brandon. He's a fantastic poet. Yeah. He wrote an acrostic poem. An acrostic poem is like an acronym. An acronym would be say like UFC, Ultimate Fight Championship, MMA, mixed martial arts. So obviously acrostic is a word. You pick a word and you make a poem out of said word. So this is someone that was very close to him, Robbie, and the poem is aptly named Robbie, and then he uses all the words. So each line starts with each letter from that word.
Okay.
So, or remembrance is about remembering someone you love. O, often is thinking about them all the time. B, beautiful, thinking about how beautiful he was in his life. B, for balance, balancing my feelings with him being gone. I, identity, who he was and what he was like. E, elegant, perfect in my eyes, even with all his flaws.
That was Robbie by Brandon. Ah, wow. 16 years old.
Yeah.
That level of foresight and emotional, not just even intelligence, but just like he knows himself so well to communicate like that.
Yeah.
The balance part I really enjoyed actually, because I think when you're young, it's very hard to stay balanced with anything.
Yeah, definitely.
So he seems to be someone who has a good eye on the world, a better eye on the world than I had. I think at 16 years old.
Yeah, definitely.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I think true, like obviously from doing poetry and from reading and writing, you learn a bit about yourself from doing poetry, So it's great. And as I said, like there was 20 students that today, and they're all brilliant. Some students read out 2 poems, some read a short story. There was some international students there as well, and they had written poems and stuff like that. So it was brilliant to see. Yeah. And they all knocked it out of the park. It was deadly. So shout out to Rosary College with the upcoming writers because you're all lethal.
Can I ask you something actually?
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to share with the listeners. So like I was reading in the Irish Times, it was last weekend, they did a big feature on TikTok with children and young people. And there's a lot of, I don't know what the Irish Times are doing, but they were getting students to talk about the fear side of being online. Like the fearfulness of the getting dressed with me videos and the makeup tutorials that young people are having. It's seemingly like, you know, putting the fear of God in the reader of going, God, our generation are fucked, God, anything. And I feel like a lot of the time whenever young people are mentioned, it's all about like, oh, they don't know what's good, they don't know what day they're born, they're on their phones too much and all this stuff. I just want to like you, because you work with kids a lot, like you work heavily in the education system in Ireland. I just want to get your feelings on how are the kids doing that you work with. Like, I know that like if you creatively, they must be able to unlock something specific to, you know, please you and you to help them. But what's your general feelings amongst like the younger generation that you're working with?
Well, obviously, I'm working all over. Like I've been working mostly in Dublin, but I've gone up to Louth and Longford and could be gone all over the country at some stage. But it's spreading out. But it's depending on the area. But there's a general kind of thing where with young people now in Ireland, they're more informed than we were. Like the capacity for information that they have, and like they're much more educated in the matters of the world than we would have been, because obviously, like, you know, when we were 14, 15, your parents could keep things away from you. They could keep information away from you, whereas all they have to do now is go on their phone and they can see atrocities being committed through whatever it is, or you can see, like, you know, that things in different parts of the world aren't that good at the moment, or, you know, just even like just general information that could have been restricted from you as a teenager, whereas now they have this. But then there's also a kind of they almost have too much information. So there's an anxiety between a lot of, now also as well, I have to say, people are more open now about their emotions and how they're doing. Mental health is a big thing. It's taught in the schools now to talk about their feelings, so they're more open with how they're dealing with things. That's good. There is a general anxiety more now, because you spend, like anyone, like if you spend a whole day on your phone,
heads in the shed,
and you're getting reels, and it's like, as I said, there's an influx of information where it could be like, you know, a dog, a cat, a funny video, someone falling over, a murder, a makeup tutorial, you know, get dressed with me, another murder, and then it's like another cat and another dog. Like, your emotions are all over the fucking place. So like for anybody, I think not even just young people, well, obviously young people are more like they're like sponges. They're more
susceptible to taking on ideas, aren't they?
Exactly. But like they're more like sponges than we are, because we're more, as you get older, obviously you're more fixed in your ways, but they're more kind of susceptible to these things. But like everybody, anyone that spends too much time on their phone is a more anxious person. No matter what age you are, you could be 80 years of age and you spend the whole day on fucking TikTok, you will be more anxious. So as I said, it's like, it's knowing when to disconnect and take some time out of your day to not do, you know, to not be on your phone, to not be like, you know, on, you know, to not just be stuck and looking at a device all day. Take some time to do something. Go for a walk. Go
for a walk and
go to the fucking, read a book. Go to a cafe. You know, do whatever to just to unplug for a few minutes of your day. You know.
Yeah.
But like as I said, they're much more informed. They're much more world. Their level of maturity when they want to be mature
is way higher than what we would have.
100%.
Yeah, you know? I'd say so.
They just, as I said, but like, even it's great to go into the schools and be constantly surprised with how talented they are. They're always fantastic. I've never gone to a school and gone, they're a bit shy, or they're a bit weak. I'm like, no, you go in, and no matter what area they're in, no matter what demographic they're from, they'll always find something that is fantastic to write about. Yeah, it's just giving them the right push. Some, obviously different areas, it's harder for them to kind of believe in themselves, but once you get that kind of a little bit of belief, a spark of belief in them, they're off and they're already fantastic.
Amazing.
Very, very quick. So yeah, it's great.
And like you said, like if you spend all your day on TikTok, you're going to feel anxious. Maybe that's up to us as well a little bit, you know. I'm guilty of the mindless scrolling. We all are. You know, people are susceptible. So like if I'm seeing, like I'm a massive people watcher. So like, you know, if I'm in a pub or a cafe or something and I'm seeing people, like even now if I see someone on their phone, I judge them. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, what are you doing? And then, but then I'll do exactly the same when I go home, because I'm influencing what people are doing. Because when you look around you, especially when you're younger, surely, what you see around you is the truth. Yeah. That is how you should act. Yeah. So like if I was a young person now, let's say I'm 15, 16 years old, and I don't know, I take my friends to like get a coffee or like a cold iced tea. I don't know what it is that kids do these days. I don't think they're drinking 4 cans of Foster's like I was in the park. I don't think
too expensive.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, yeah, I'd have a tenner back then. But if I'm seeing around me and seeing adults that are all on their phone and like all on their AirPods, I'd probably go, that's probably my goal. Because what else have I got to influence me? So it's on us to fucking cop on as well.
Do you know what I love? Being in a pub and you see an older couple that are in, like, say, their 60s, 70s, and they're not on their phones, but they're full on fucking ignoring each other. Do you ever see that?
Do you love that?
Do you know the way they just sit there?
Yeah.
They just sit there and they don't fucking speak.
Like this.
And they don't talk to each other for like an hour. But they're not actually, they're not even people watching. They're just sitting there having their drink, not fucking, but they're not on their phones.
No.
And I'm like, that's like the OG version of just like, it's fucking dead. It's like a time capsule. That's not going to happen in 20 years. There's not going to be.
Absolutely not.
Should be more couples ignoring each other the traditional way.
In the old throwback way.
The way fucking.
Disdain and hatred.
The way our ancestors ignored each other back in the caves. That's what I want, Back to the fucking, go around back to the old ways. Unplug, but just
disdain
ignore.
is so strong that they can't focus on the phone.
Exactly,
Sitting here angry that you're in my company again.
The spite is keeping them busy.
Yeah. Amazing. Do we have? You've been in charge of the agony aunt this week. I haven't even seen it. So, do we have one?
We have an agony aunt.
Okay.
We have an agony aunt.
Amazing.
From myself.
Oh, okay.
I have written into the agony aunt.
You've written in.
And in some sort of weird parallel universe, the agony aunt has answered.
Okay.
With a poem.
Are you also the agony aunt?
I'm also the agony aunt. So I've thrown.
Jesus
so I've
Christ.
created a paradox, and I've cast my agony aunt into the paradox.
Yeah.
Into the event horizon of a black hole, and the supermassive black hole has belched out a poem from Leon from a different parallel universe to write a poem for me.
Did you change outfits at least between sending in the agony aunt?
I imagine he was wearing a fashionable hat of some sort. I haven't got maybe a trilby, maybe a fedora. I'm not sure.
So the agony aunt doesn't exist physically. Like you've written in, and then in the paradox of the space and time, the agony aunt's been sitting there and sent you back, and then it's been like it's in your fingers. You've typed it out, but it wasn't really you.
It wasn't really me. It was me from a different dimension. So like agony aunt's just more of a state of mind. It's a concept.
It's like
than a physical person. Yeah, we've got very metaphysical.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, are we even here?
I don't know if we exist. We're asking the hard-hitting questions here on this podcast. So
we are today.
This is my agony and question that I've asked.
Ask away.
My mate's getting married and I'm not sure what to do.
Fuck. Okay.
So I've thrown that in there. The agony aunt has listened.
So the way I'm hearing that is I'm single and I'm not close to getting married myself, and my mate's getting married, and I don't know what to do with myself. Is that where we're going with this, or is it different to that?
Well, the agony aunt has answered.
Oh, well, listen, okay, I guess we're going to...
Maybe listen to her in a parallel universe.
Shut the fuck up and listen to the agony aunt.
So the title is the same. What the question I asked is the title is, my mate's getting married, and I'm not sure what to do.
Okay.
My mate's getting married, and I'm not sure what to do. He did a real proper job of it. A month's salary or two. More than likely 3. But it's a big milestone for my good old pal. He's popped the question and she's answered well. Alright. Go on, so. My mate's getting married, and I'm not sure what to do. He's gotten down on one knee. In New York City, it's true. Him and her are now happy, telling friends and family about the good news. My mate's getting married, and I'm not sure what to do. Do I buy him a guidebook or a map to help him through all this? See, it's a big step, a monumental moment in your life. My mate's getting married to his perfect wife.
Oh. Thank you so much for that, pal.
There you go.
Well, that's what you do. You write a poem.
I write a poem.
Ah,
there you are.
Thank you so much, bro.
Don't ask me to just, you should
well,
thank the agony aunt in a parallel universe, not me. Parallel Leon.
Oh.
There you go.
Smiling wide ear, pal. I love that. Thank you so much, pal.
You're
Thanks, agony aunt, for that as well. Wow, amazing. Well, listen, we're back regularly. We'll have weekly shows now, so we have a break now and again, just give you a bit of a breather, but we like to make sure that we have at least, so for the next 5 weeks we'll have like an episode every week, so your Monday mornings are going to be, we're going to be with you. for a couple of weeks
Holding
at least.
your hand with a cup of coffee.
We mentioned earlier the Patreon, so feel free to subscribe. We've got a few things in the pipeline. We have the partnership with the Winding Stair. That's going to probably expand into something a bit bigger. A book club might come. We're thinking about that. There's a little gift box sent to anybody that subscribes. So join us. If anything, it's great to get a chance at some point to introduce everybody to each other. So, like you said with the stag, I feel like we're having a stag and we're inviting people that we don't know yet to a little meet. So I'm excited for when that happens, man. So feel free to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, definitely.
Get in touch as well. We haven't received poems, so send them.
Where are you?
Where are you?
Although I'm getting physical signed poems.
Actually, I'm lying, mate. We have loads of poems sent to us. Oh god, we have a banger of a poem sent to us for next week from someone called Adele. Adele, hopefully you're listening, who sent me some comedy poems recently. Oh my god. So I'm going to share a few. But email us anyway. It's thepoetryzpodcast@gmail.com. Hit us on the DMs. Follow us on TikTok. Give us a like. We're everywhere. We're everywhere on your phone. Don't spend too much time on it, but when you do, make sure it's us you're staring at.
Yeah, make sure you limited your time on your phone, but only to us.
Yeah.
And our Patreon page. And also our TikTok and Instagram.
And Instagram. And maybe emails.
And emails as well, anyway.
Yeah.
Or you can send us physical poems as well if you want. If you see us on the street, kindly pass us a poem. Don't throw it at us.
I'd feel offended if you did see either of us in Dublin city centre and didn't stop us to tell us a poem.
Write it on a beer mat. Write on some, I don't know, a leaf or something.
Give us some fucking poems.
Give us some fucking poems. We can never have enough. Give us your fucking poems. Or else. Parallel Leon's gonna be fucking freaked.
With his fancy hat.
With his fancy trilby or his fedora top hat, I don't fucking know.
Leon, I really enjoyed that and thanks for your time.
Always a pleasure, never a chore, Ryan baby.
We'll see everyone next Monday.
Ciao, ciao.